Okay, it's Mystic Rob here. I'd like to apologize to anyone following me for the fact that it's been a while since I made a video, but then again, I really don't think there's anyone quote following me, and I like it that way. I like that. First of all, the fact that I just throw videos out there and they randomly exist and they're randomly encountered, but I don't want to go into why that's necessary for me. But this video is particularly about a very narrow band of thought that I believe is one of those things that, just as people might have considered electricity in the 1700s and various sciences that at one time were just a curiosity for, the odd folks. Oh, my cigar gave out already. That's incredible. There are certain things that are just curiosities. Things like maybe even computers at one point, were just, oh, that's interesting, but, how will that affect the world? And now anybody in the industrialized modern age more than likely carries a computer in their pocket, has one in their car. And when back in the 40s and 50s, they were that narrow band of information that only a few dealt with. I'm making this video because I've stumbled on a TV series called VR.5, and there's a succession of VR 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and what each of those, in succession, what they mean in the context of the series. But in the series, well, I'm just going to express it. First of all, just to get this out of the way. The technology in the series is total bullshit. If you think that a phone modem can connect the type of information that is being portrayed in the series is well, I mean, okay, it's one of those situations where you have to say, okay, I want to acknowledge the concept, but not necessarily, say that the technology works. They've taken a lot of poetic, liberties, so to speak. So I want to get that out of the way, okay? So if you're a techie, I just recently, I'm going back into the tech environment myself. I just got a job as a applications programmer, and so I'm really kind of just, it's just sort of my, mise en scène, or my gestalt is kind of fading into that. And so I get into the series, and of course the technology back in 1995 when the series was made was kind of silly. But the idea, the concept, what they're talking about is exactly what Terence Mckenna envisioned. Terence McKenna talked about how virtual reality systems will someday be the new drug. And that a combination of drugs, technology, and all these things will be the embodiment of the new subconscious, or the collective unconscious, as Jung talked about. And so this series, as I'm watching it, it blows my mind. So if you are a fan of Terence McKenna, by all means, I would very much want you. I mean, I just watched the first 2 episodes. Maybe the whole series will go another bad direction, or maybe it'll stay on point. But this idea of the subconscious manifesting itself into an arena in which we can address it consciously is exactly what I think Terence McKenna was trying to say that hallucinogens can do, and someday technology can do. And in this series, VR5, even though the technology by which they do it is totally ridiculous, the concept is still the same. And I'm really kind of surprised that I've discovered this series and in no way with all the Terence Mckenna media that I've viewed, have not seen a connection to this series. And so hopefully I'm going to try and make this video so that there is a connection to it. So that, you know, I'm going to title it somehow so that the two words are connected. But the idea is, what's going on in this series is what will come someday. And in a span of 5 seconds, people will be able to enter into a space in which they can have hours of interaction and explore the space of mind. It's one of those things that I think for anyone who is familiar with Terence McKenna and what he's espoused will immediately understand. And for those of you who may have come to this video because you're a fan of VR.5, I by all means suggest that you start listening to all of the hundreds of hours of Terence McKenna audio tapes or audios that are out there on YouTube. And my cigar blew out again because I talk more than I... So anyways, my whole point is I want to connect these two things because viewing a show like this is an experience. And anybody who's dealt with psychedelics at any level know that experience is a teacher. And sadly, for the most part, watching a video is an experience that is a teacher, and for the majority of people on this planet, it is a bad teacher. It's a means of control. But in this instance, if you are aware of the expansion of ideas and the expansion of experience that I'm familiar with and I am talking about, then when you watch VR5, it won't just be an entertainment series for you. It'll be something that you look at and say, yes, someday I want that. Someday it will be available. And to a certain degree, it's available now, just not in the shared experience that they show. And who knows, maybe someday I'll have the opportunity to work on that. I've got some interesting ideas. But the idea that you can go into this space in which things are different and you explore the space of mind and discover things in a way you would not in normal consciousness. I mean that's been around forever. I mean that's been around since as long as we've had consciousness. But the idea of adding technology, adding a means by which there may be a and this is being worked on now by a number of people, but there may be a corresponding event. I'm at a loss for words because this is new territory. But there is such a thing as synchronicity. There is such a thing as shared experience. And the idea that if you could put somebody's mental state into a technology that is a virtual world, then all the things that exist in psychedelics can literally be a shared experience in technology. I don't know how far away we are from that. But I suspect with the concrescence of technology as it is advancing, that there is there's more ahead of us than we can even imagine. Sadly, right now, today, the cutting edge of this technology is so expensive that most people would not, A, have an awareness of it, or B, have the opportunity to experience it. But then there are people like me who, I've played with certain biofeedback equipment and other things, and I'm piecing it together. And I'm saying, wow, 10 years from now, what might be possible? So by all means, I just wanted to express, and a lot of this might not make sense just watching my video, but if you watch VR.5 and you listen to Terence McKenna and some of his points of view on virtual reality, it should come together what I'm talking about. It is the new frontier, the new frontier of mind. And Terence McKenna asked one question about this realm. He says, what would you do if you could do anything? Now think about that. What if you can enter into a space, and within the time of your life, it would take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, within the time of the experience in that space, you could have a year, or 2, or 10. This is not fantasy. This is something that may be presented to us sometime. And then you're in a virtual environment in which anything is possible. What would you do? And even if, for the sake of argument, this never really comes forth, I'm just a dreamer, and it never happens, it's an interesting question nonetheless to think, if you could do anything, what would you do? Anyways, Mystic Rob, peace. I just wanted to share, by all means. If you're a VR fan, look into Terence McKenna. If you're a Terence McKenna fan, look into VR.5. At least the first 2 episodes. It may go a bad direction, but so far, I'm really liking this series. And the chicken is kind of hot too, so. Peace.